김태형 쌤은 졸업하면 어떻게 될 거야? 누가 졸업하면
계속 이제 제가 연구를 해야죠. 지금 본인이 졸업을 빨리 원해가지고 졸업하고 또 졸업해서 연구를 잘
시작할까요?
네.
Okay, hi, my name is Sang-mi Lee, and my thesis topic is effects of storytelling on attitude toward sharing one's location information. And this is my MS preliminary fiction. So my thesis consists of research backgrounds, theoretical backgrounds, and research questions and method. And for the background, I'm gonna mention about the generalization of smartphone and LBSNS with triple media marketing theory. And then for the theoretical backgrounds, I will mention about place attachment, co-experience, and how does it work with modality effects, and how does it have effects with effects on hedonic versus utilitarian purpose. So this is my research background. In 2009, the smartphone market was only 14% in the world mobile phone market, but Gartner expects smartphones to penetrate about 38% of global market in 2013. And actually, it is diversely applicable, such as advertisement, marketing, communication, games, financial transactions, business and education, etc. So what is smartphone's feature? The features of smartphone is can be divided into two ways. For advertisers, the smartphone can deliver advertised messages with suitable contents to consumers. And for users' aspects, the smartphone may help users to overcome any limitation which can be caused from time or space due to its portableness and mobility. So the benefit of smartphone is related to earned media marketing, and for the triple media marketing, there are three different media types: earned, owned, and paid media. And those three different media attracts different kind of people. So actually, the smartphone is related to earned media, and as the smartphone's application is being very popular, the using blogs or uploading videos, comments, pictures, or stories can be became very easy to use. So the applications such as Facebook, Path, Foursquare, Twitter, all of these applications have GPS with SNS, which is called LBSNS. So this LBSNS represents users' location using GPS, and users can leave reviews about places, and they can share information about places through SNS. So these kind of experiences can trigger another substitutable experiences of customers who haven't been certain places before. And another feature of this system is that they can have entertainment factor by gaining rewards when they check in each place. And while users get entertainment factors, advertisers also get advertising effects. So both of them can get benefits by this. And users can get informed by others' reviews without requiring prior experiences for certain places. So 3 million check-ins are enrolled every day over world. So this market is this market has been increased pretty much. So prior researches mention about place attachment related to location sharing services. So attachment is an emotional bond with, which connects people over time and space. And especially with the HCI aspects, users have strong attachment to frequently or ever visited places. This is a result of quantitative data of self-report interview. So users said they consider images or feelings of places as part of themselves, combining their subjective emotions with semantic moods in specific place. So these kind of attachments, when SNS users share their experience with receivers, the receivers could have substitutable experience instead of or before visiting the place. Based on this theories, I got a first research question. For LB SNS users controlling type of application, what's the relationship between location sharing, the behavior, location sharing, and place attachment? But actually this is not very detailized. And I do have to mention about the definition of location sharing. And the location sharing could be divided into a lot of ways. First, location sharing toward the system. Attitude toward the location sharing with system. And second one is attitude toward location sharing, behavior of location sharing, and the third one is attitude of the place where they are sharing. So these three factors could be an attitude of location sharing. So this can be my DV. And for my first RQ, location sharing. Specifically for the behavior will be examined. So hypothesis 1, location sharing through LBSNS has a significant positive effect on place attachment. What about it with LBSNS? So what can we get from the system? Fludizzi and Batterby in 2004, they defined the term of co-experience as a user experience which occurs in social context. And Batterby said there are 4 elements of co-experiences: social, multimodal, fun, and creative. So as you can see on the graph on the chart, all of them are focused on communication factors. So actually, when we have co-experience, the communication factor is very, very important, and it is very related to sharing one's experience through SNS, the mobile, because we use modalities here. And we use vivid storytelling based on text modality, and we upload pictures. It is visual modalities, and numbers or maps, illustrations for graphic informations. So we have diverse modalities for sharing informations. And actually, when we share informations, there are researches that users name places differently, and they accept and they feel the places differently depending how they feel the place is comfortable. And this is the reviews of Freeform written by users. And in social psychological aspects, there are an argument that is mentioning people get more motivated by others' attitude. And I am mentioning this because not only just the storytelling text modality, but whether it is being positive or negative, it could be affect to the users or receivers in a negative or positive ways. So my second RQ is this: for LBSNS users controlling type of application, what is the relationship between type of storytelling and attitude to sharing one's location? So type of storytelling here will be positive and negative and the neutral level. So I will have 3 levels of this IB. So second hypothesis will be divided into three detailized hypotheses. Storytelling, the neutral one. Neutral storytelling of sharing information through LBSNS has a significant positive effect on the system attitude versus non-storytelling reviews moderated by users' place attachment. And H2-2, positive storytelling of shared information through the system has a significant positive effect on the system attitude moderated by users' place attachment. And the last one, negative storytelling of shared information through the system has a significant negative effect on the system attitude moderated by users' place attachment. And we could be faced with the problem of why would we search information for particular places? Because there would be different purposes of searching information toward the places. And for the HCCI aspect, the hedonic and utilitarian, both of them explain motivation of behavior. But not only just this, they also make users have expectations for both system and users' experiences, which means it's not only just the thing which make users do something or about their motivations, but they can also have expectations on systems. So the hedonic and utilitarian, two different kind of expectations may cause different expectations to the users. And for the aspects of marketing, it's quite similar but different. For hedonic purpose, customers go shopping when they have hedonic motivations. They remind the world of adventure, gratification, value, social, and idea shopping. And when it comes to utilitarian motivation shopping, they tend to do efficiency and very specific achievement shopping. So my third research question is, for LBSNS users controlling type of application, what is the relationship between purpose of information search and attitude to sharing one's location? And this is my hypothesis. Each of hedonic and utilitarian of information search through the system has significant effect on the system depending on types of information. So this is my research model. Location sharing, when we share our location, we will provide three different types of information. One is neutral, which has pictures only. And the second one is storytelling. Actually, the storytelling is review of the users, but I will measure only the receiver's receiver's response. The positive storytelling and the negative storytelling is other two levels. And for another ID, purpose of search, as a purpose of search, there are two levels, hedonic and utilitarian. And for this two level, I will provide only one place, but two different group randomly assigned previously have different purpose of place search. And the type of information, between type of information and effects of location sharing, I could place attachment as a moderator, and I will examine whether place attachment has effect between those IV and DV. So this is my research method, 3x2 between subject experimental design. And I'm thinking of doing experiment with 90 participants with age of 20 to 30. And for the next step of this presentation, I will set the control variables, and especially for I want to control the pre-experience of participants. And I think think I need to control about neither, experience about neither system or place. So I will find participants who are using 2 location sharing services, not just only one, and who has a certain level of badges or certain level of badges or mayor the honors. And for location attribution, I think the content and gender independent item is very important when I choose the place. So I was thinking of choosing cafe, as it could be also a hedonic place and utilitarian place. For example, when young people want to meet their friends, they often go to cafe to have some coffees. But also, some of students are visiting cafe to do some studies or, for the utilitarian purpose. So I think cafe is a proper place for both of 2 purposes. And context of information need to be controlled as well. And for the operationalization, I will manipulate storytelling and information, the 2 IBs, and I will measure the attitude. As I told you, there are 4 elements of attitude. First is attitude to LBS system, second attitude to sharing behavior, and attitude to place, and the last one is visit intent. And also as a moderator, I will measure place attachment from the Williams thesis and with semantic differential Likert 7-point scale. And this is the measurement of my dependent variables from Mitchell and Olson's 1981. And this is the questionnaire of place attachments. And I will translate this into Korean, and then I will ask other students to check whether it is proper expressions or not. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Since my time's up, time's running up, so let me start. Overall, I think it's a good topic, and but I don't see enough about relevant research or previous research, meaning that research review, I think, that needs to be enhanced. And the research question practice is durable, but you need to be more specific about it. It seems to me that it's not that clear enough to sway the committee. And what do you think about hedonic and utilitarian motivation you talked about? Do you think there's a clear definition about it, or do you think it's let's say, the reason I'm asking is that some people think that hedonic motivation as well as utilitarian motivation together. Like for example, smart TV, we watch the TV, but there's of course a hedonic part, but there's also a utilitarian part, right? Search the engine together. So I don't think it's like a clear cut, definitive clear cut. This is a hedonic part. This is a utilitarian part. There's some kind of overlapping area together, right? You need to definitely give some definition and operationalization of how you actually approach that or use those definition from the previous study.
So that's why I want to provide you only one place, but here I will provide one place, but I will assign 2 groups. So there are two purposes, but this will be provided before the experiment as their task. So I will give them as a task 2 of one purpose.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Lee.
So, Sham, this is Guan again. I think this is my last time to talk to you via this telecommunication device. So, I believe you and Sangmi discussed about this prelim before. So, you and Sangmi has already done this plan, right, Sangmi? So, in terms of theory and in terms of the initial literature review, I think it's a good one, so good progress. But again, it's something that I gave Sangmi previously about my personal comment about this type of research is that the hedonic and utilitarian definitions is somewhat confusing, and you should be very careful because. So now you are now trying to make it that you want to make one place as either you want to make a search for one place as either hedonic purposes driven or utilitarian purposes driven by using your own manipulation. So if it's part of your manipulation, I think it's okay. But if it's not part of your manipulation, then it will be very confusing because, as you said, cafe can be both hedonic and utilitarian. So your manipulation should be very clear that. In hedonic conditions, the people in that conditions should think about the search for cafe as hedonic purposes only, whereas in the utilitarian conditions, it should be the opposite. But again, I'm not quite convinced about that because even though you said that you make your participants to look for a place for studying, and you think that that's a utilitarian purposes search, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if that's the case, then I think even though their primary purpose is to study at a place, looks like it's very utilitarian purposes, but at the same time, there is some hedonic component in there too. So studying, finding a place, but in addition to that, you want to find the emotionally pleasing space. You want to place some attachment to that space. And you think greatly about this emotional aspect of the space. So you are not thinking only about this the completeness of table, completeness of chair. You are thinking about all sorts of things when you try to find a place for studying. So still, I'm not sure whether that manipulation is strong enough to make this to make the experiment work. Another comment that I'm always making to my student who wants to do interaction studies is that you need to be very clear why you are using these two independent variables and why you are using this factorial design. Because if you are conducting a factorial design, that means that you are expecting an interaction impact. Or you think that interaction might be very interesting in this case. So in your case, why do you think this the balance in storytelling, either positive, negative, or neutral, and the search purposes, either hedonic and utilitarian, why these two variables are interacting with each other? So you need to think about that. Go on.
I decided to use these two IVs and levels because when I have utilitarian purpose, for example, for studying, and I'm looking for a cafe, I think I would not be affected by informations about like negative storytelling informations, and I may be affected by neutral informations about the place, and
more in utilitarian condition.
Mhm.
But don't you think that positive evaluation will affect both hedonic and utilitarian purposes at the same time? So it's the main effects, not the interaction effects. But do you have any particular case that you think the interaction effect will be interesting?
Interaction effect. So I was thinking for the hedonic could be have positive effects for these two, because hedonic for
hedonic
the
is a
hedonic.
positive effect on those two.
Yeah, I'm
It cannot be
thinking that.
because it's a IB. So hedonic.
I mean, when we see the interaction effect,
Mhm.
when hedonic factors go with this, there will be like positive effects. But when this one goes with a utilitarian factor, I'm assuming that there will be negative effects.
We do not have that much time left, but that explanation is very unclear
Okay.
because negative storytelling, negative evaluation will have a unifying effects on both hedonic and utilitarian. Unifying effects on these dependent variables, regardless of hedonic or utilitarian purposes. That's a better interpretation. So still not clear. So what you are saying is that, are you talking about the degree of effects? So are you saying that in hedonic condition, either negative or positive balance of evaluation, storytelling, will have a bigger impact?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about this effect size?
Yeah.
Not the direction. You're talking about effect size.
Yeah, effect size.
So in utilitarian conditions, the effect size will be smaller for the either negative or positive. So effect size for the utilitarian conditions, the effect size, the effect of either negative or positive storytelling So in comparison with the utilitarian condition, hedonic conditions will be much more influenced by balance of storytelling. Is that what you're thinking about? So in hedonic side, so can you draw a picture? Another exercise for you to think about. So picture of interaction in the horizontal line, it can be the hedonic or utilitarian. So in the horizontal line, you have these two, hedonic and utilitarian. No. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, right? Draw pictures of interactions. So draw pictures of interaction for storytelling and information search based on your hypothesis. Then explain this.
Okay. For the utilitarian factor, when people search places for utilitarian reasons, they might not want to be affected by the long text informations, which was written by other people's subjective opinion. So they might prefer the non-storytelling.
So dependent variable, use any one dependent variable there. So attitude, what? Attitude toward the place?
Yeah.
Okay, so attitude toward the place. So people's attitude toward the place will be much more influenced by neutral storytelling if they have utilitarian purposes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when people have hedonic purposes, they won't want to be affected by non-storytelling.
Then why is it higher than, why PS is higher than N? and why NS is higher than PS?
This has to be go down a little bit, like this. But anyway, it has.
Why N is lower than NS?
Why NS is.
Higher than N.
Why this is higher than this
N.
one?
No, N. Neutral.
This one. Because for the hedonic purpose, people may want to get any information, even it's negative or positive, because so that they can decide to go there or not.
So if they get very negative storytelling, then you think that even in that case, their attitude toward the place will be higher than the conditions that people get the neutral storytelling?
For this situation, the DB need to be changed as attitude toward sharing behavior.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but my time is up.
Okay, sorry.
I need to go to Chunghwa University to give a special.
Okay, so
I'm
okay, let's just finish it.
Sorry.
So you need to talk more. Again, this is unclear. I think you need to think more about this. Okay? Talk with your advisor more about this. But I see some flaw in there. So you need to think about this interaction. Okay. So your answer is that it depends on different variables. Okay. So I stop there. Okay.
Okay. I learned something.
No, something.
Yeah.
Okay.
나오십니까? 네.
교수님 머릿속으로 정리가 됐어요.
그렇죠?
어떻게 해야 될지 알 것 같아요. 제가 더 클리어하게